Adventurer, thank goodness you are here. There is something amiss in the great forest. Last we checked in with Goro, Ryutaro, Mora, and Aya, they had ventured away from the druids and the elder tree in search of what could be disturbing the inhabitants of the woods. Their investigation brought them to a village of satyrs and halflings, who reported an attack on their village just the night before, by creatures that, as Ryutaro described in his report, as possibly being pretty big birds or small birds with very big feet. Upon further observation, the party found large deposits of acidic ooze in the nearby river, as well as discarded clothing stolen from the previous night's raid. As they searched the forest, the party stumbled upon a less than accommodating encampment of gnolls, but were able to make quick work of their attackers. It was here that they report having discovered some sort of crudely drawn playbill and map, and have decided to go forth and see if it could lead to more answers. Let's check in with them now.
In a time now lost to history, the world was ruled by the forces of darkness and chaos. Then the god Dayran, along with his younger siblings, created light. They rose up and ousted the old gods, bringing new life to the world. Despite the new gods' victory, some of the forces of evil managed to escape banishment and continued to plague mankind. Then, 500 years ago, the great warrior king Agon battled the final and strongest demon lord, and from his victory, the glorious kingdom that bears his name Agonia sprung forth. Peace flourished as the kingdom became a center of culture, magic, religion, and military might. To guard against the demons and monstrosities that might lurk in the dark shadows and far corners of the world, the Adventurers Guild stands ready. With sword and spell in hand, these brave souls keep the bright light of Dayran and the courage of Agon alive. These are their songs. These are the Strophes of Agonia.
Well, I'm all for exploring further north. I mean, if this map is to be believed, I don't think it would be that far from here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I mean, plus, if there's other Kojis sitting around, then I might as well meet them too, you know? Although I doubt any of them are as cool as the real one.
Let's definitely take measured caution with us, though. It seems as though this map has plenty of indications of others present. These gnolls are certainly an example.
Then let us go. Who leads? Ryu, you are best in the woods.
You got it! And I start prancing off in the direction of the, that I assume that the map is leading us towards, so northwards. Keeping an eye out for anything I can interpret from the map. You said that they were trying to put up landmarks and stuff, so it's a crude map, so I don't know how accurate it'll be, but I try and look out for the odd lump that I see next to there, and like a weird looking, I think it's a tree, but see.
Maybe a tree? And like, my head kind of like tilts to one side as I'm like looking at the map, like it tilts back and forth a little bit. Maybe holds it up to see if you can see anything through the page, like watermark or something.
Ryutaro, go ahead and give me a perception check. Now, this perception check, as you try to find your way, would have been at disadvantage, considering trying to use the map as a directional guide. However, as Aya is helping you, that gets you just a normal roll.
And also it's in my favorite terrain, so...
This, perception check, so that will still just be an ordinary perception check.
Yep. So
I'm sorry, when did this become an episode of, actually?
It never wasn't.
That was a 12?
Yep.
Okay. So as the four of you are making your way through the woods, Mora and Goro, you are following Aya and Ryutaro. It takes you
several hours. It takes you at least a couple of hours to make your way north using this map. But at the end of the 2 hours, you realize you're maybe only about 30 minutes north of where you started. You have had to kind of cross back and forth, north and south. At one point, you're like, wait, are we holding this map upside down? And it's of no fault of your own. It's just simply that crudely drawn of a map. But you find your way kind of back towards the river, about 30 minutes north of a 30-minute walk, the way the crow flies, north of the encampment of gnolls. And you start to notice on tree branches there are pieces of rope tied, and then there are kind of areas where kind of carcass and bone has kind of been deposited in a pile kind of off to the side, and there are more and more markings of an encampment. And you come back towards the river, and this area is a little bit more lush and a little bit more overgrown than the kobold encampment. And as I mentioned, you're able to see kind of signs of life. You're up high, and there kind of slopes down to the riverbank. And you're able to see towards the riverbank, but what's maybe not apparent on the map here is about 15 feet in front of that bridge to the slope down to the encampment, there is what amounts to maybe 24 saplings that have been kind of cut down, tied together, and a real ramshackle wall has been kind of placed up. And along the wall, kind of pieces of fabric are hanging, and a very crude door is kind of at the front, and just to the side of the door is like an old frame to what might have been a mirror, and some paper drawn on it, paper hung up on it, and drawn on the paper you find more of those koji-like drawings.
As we enter in and see this, I'm gonna turn around and just kind of put a finger to my lips and say, I'm gonna sneak up and see if I can hear anything. I don't want to see... Those gnolls were pretty upset, so don't want to have the jump on us again.
Sounds good.
All right.
And so I am going to, as sneakily as I can, kind of like crawl up into that area and open my ears as wide as possible and try and listen for any kind of movement, voices, anything of the like.
Go ahead and give me a perception check for sound.
Yes. That is a 10.
Okay. You don't hear anything from where you are. But in front of you is this kind of rickety wall, right? And above the door, kind of scrawled into it, you see a message. The message reads, and again, in a very similar script to what you saw on the map. So this is very crude spelling of common. But after a moment of looking at it, you're able to kind of piece it together. And it seems to read, to enter, one must say aloud the magic word. And then kind of scrawled there are, in no order, right? Not left to right, right to left, up to, but just kind of haphazardly. You see a P, an E, an N, and an O.
Is that word visible in the mirror? So you said there's a mirror, right?
there's a frame of a mirror that's been
frame.
like
Gotcha.
there's paper in there. No, this is
Gotcha.
written above the door is a message
Yeah.
that says to enter allowed.
Yeah.
And so it's these. But I see you're saying it's not like
Yeah.
that's being
Yeah.
reflected, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I also realize now that it doesn't spell anything backwards, but I will say, I just like look over my shoulder, give a really confident thumbs up, and then say, "Open."
Okay. Nothing happens.
Mora will be looking at you and raises a thumb back.
Can I do one more perception check to see if I hear anything after I say aloud?
Sure.
Open?
Sure.
Same exact roll.
Okay. You don't hear anything, but as you look around, you realize that this is like a wooden door made of sticks. There's no latch or anything. It's your hand pushes it open and it just swings. It's on like two little pieces of rawhide leather being held together.
I got the word right. I kind of like peer inside, and before I go too far, I kind of like just want to peek in and then lean back and kind of like wave them over with like 2 thumbs up this time because I opened that door. I figured out the magic word.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is the toll bridge in the desert of blazing saddles, right? Like the
Yeah,
wall comes to an
exactly.
end, and there's more open forest. This is, and Ryutaro goes through, leaving the rest of you to follow.
All right. Follow.
I would like to do this stealthily as well.
Okay,
Even
give
though
me
it's
a
like
stealth check. Give me that check.
I mean, listen, as I'm creeping up as well, following,
14.
I'm also going to be rolling stealth. I'm
That's
trying
a
my
14
darndest.
for me.
Okay, 14, you're relatively stealthy. Can you give me your roll again, Aya?
So I have to roll at disadvantage because I'm wearing armor. That's a natural 1.
Okay.
I mean, next to my stealth, it is disadvantage because I'm wearing armor.
Yeah. So you follow Ryutaro through, and it's as if there's no realization that this wall is clearly a fake wall, right? So you go through the door as if it's the only way you could possibly go through this wall. And you look behind you to kind of, with this beaming radiance, you look behind you to Goro and Mora, as I natural one pronouncing their names. But you look over your shoulder and you kind of give them this big like sweep of your arm to like, come on guys. And as you do, turning back through the door, you kind of catch your leg on the wall, and the whole thing is just being held up by some sticks, and so it comes crashing down, and like in it are like little bells and, you know, strings and this fat, and it all just comes crashing down on top of you, destroyed, and you're just kind of left standing in where the door was.
Mora will glance over at Goro and the this cacophony, and can't help it. Just a big smile like breaks her face for a moment before she gets it back under control into seriousness.
I
Ryu
was very much in that pose of just like, come on guys, it's she like I'm frozen for a couple seconds with like the
I whip around. I whip around and say, "What secret word did you say?"
Let it be known for the stream that this is not Aya laughing.
Yeah, this is not Aya laughing at this situation. Fair enough. Fair enough.
No.
I take a look around more broadly just to see if anything outside here has paid any attention to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Aya does the same.
You are all looking around. You notice that it's a pretty like steep drop down towards the riverbank. I would say the descent is probably a good 5-10 feet, and there's kind of this bridge, some thorny overgrowth. The bridge heads down to what looks to be an encampment. From kind of up here, you're able to see like there's a table and a chest down there. There seems to be like a kind of disrepaired wagon, but nothing in terms of movement.
You don't seem to have alerted anyone out here.
Well, that's good.
I suspect there's no one here to alert.
Well, hopefully they don't mind a broken door. Ooh. I want to kind of, realizing that nobody's really responding to that, I do kind of want to take a look around and see if I see any signs of recent activity. So even though there may not be anybody here now, maybe there's some tracks around, like food, maybe some halfling clothing, something like that.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
That'd be a 13.
You certainly notice that kind of everywhere, very similar bird-like tracks up on this kind of area, this elevated area, and coming and going.
Can I, based on the kind of state of the place we're in, seeing some more of those tracks, maybe seeing like, I don't know, signs of living, can I roll a nature check now with this more information to see, do I kind of, like, because I have an idea, but I just want to see, can I piece together more information on what these could be from?
Yeah, but I'm not going to ask for a nature check, because I think what you're asking me is, what is your gut telling you that these creatures might be? So I'm going to ask for an insight check instead. If I'm reading what you're laying down, right?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking. I mean, that's fine with me. I'm reading it. I was thinking like do I know the monsters? But I'll do an insight check.
Right,
fine,
and because it's like you're not looking for any new clues in the nature around you, but you have developed a hunch. That's why I'm going for insight here.
Okay, so I rolled a 17.
You have pretty good hunch that whatever was running through that forest might be Koboldian.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think we may have found a warren here, guys. Although I never heard about a thespian warden. Kobolds.
You see what's beyond the door, then?
Well, there's no door now, but I'll go check.
So yeah, you guys are up here. The door is kind of right by here, where Aya was this kind of like makeshift door, and you all are kind of up above this rampish bridge. Kobolds are certainly something all of you would have some experience with. Certainly Aya and Ryutaro, having probably gotten their start taking some lower level adventures through the guild, would probably have dealt with kobolds at some point, and Goro and Mora probably know them as being kind of pests that often inhabit both forests and cities alike.
Well, if it's kobolds, let's go get them. And I kind of start marching forward towards the ramp.
All right, so you head out front.
Yeah.
Okay. You make
I will follow along behind.
Okay. So after after Aya and Ryutaro's initial approach, it appears that Goro and Mora are set to maybe take over a little bit. And so they head down, the two of you head down this bridge ramp over this thorny overbrush. Goro takes the first step, Mora not far behind, and I need both of you to go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
A natural... No, 7. Sorry, I misread that dice. 7. It's a 7. A natural 7.
Woo! Okay.
Actually.
Inspired by your display of Leonin dexterity, I follow with a natural 4.
Okay. So,
Such grace.
yeah, such unmitigated grace. Oops, sorry, 1 second. So the two of you kind of step out in front of Aya and Ryutaro, who watch as the two of you pass. And Goro takes 2 steps onto the ramp, Mora takes 1, and Ryutaro looks down just to realize that there is clearly like a saw cut down the middle of these stairs. And the stairs just shatter and break.
Wait, no.
And Goro and Mora fall into this large, thorny underbrush.
Oh no.
Goro, you take 3 points of piercing damage. Mora, you take 2 points of piercing damage as you fall into this thorny underbrush.
I'm more annoyed than anything. Ugh, kobolds. Try and pull myself kind of. Can I get out of this little pit? Like, are we able to get out? Are we stuck in there?
No, but it's quite wide, so it's difficult terrain, and every time you take 5 steps of movement, we roll again.
Oh my gosh.
So it's only about 5 steps out, but it'll be
Okay.
another roll.
Okay, I would like to... Okay, 1 second.
It appears as though we're the performance here today.
I would... Okay, I would like to... I don't know if bless would help in this instance.
This would not be an instance.
So,
No, okay.
It'd be
okay.
friendly, but not helpful.
Yeah.
so
okay.
Guildmaster,
Yes.
via my natural explorer trait
Mm-hmm.
of a ranger, while we are within my favored terrain, we are not slowed by difficult terrain.
The entire party? Or just yourself?
So while traveling for an hour or more in your chosen terrain, difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. So I think that's more of we're going through a thicket.
I'm gonna say no to that.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, it was a stretch.
It was
but
a
you
very
gotta-
good one.
you gotta-
Very good
yeah.
one. But in this, I'm gonna say that this is not, a mountainside or a desert or something like that. But good call, and I'm glad that you had that on hand. Okay, but I will say this: both of you can go ahead and make me another dexterity saving throw.
Is it possible to just kind of hack our way out?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to make a dexterity saving throw first. Let's see how that goes. 15.
Okay. That is a success, and you're able to make it out. You have big, heavy armor on anyways. You're able to make it out of the thicket. Mora, if you'd like to give me a throw.
Can I offer a hand to help Mora out?
Yes.
Or the end of my spear?
Yes.
All right, so what does that mechanically mean? I will certainly take advantage of it.
Yes, you can take advantage of the situation.
That's
Yeah.
excellent, because I have a natural 1 otherwise.
Ha!
Oh no.
Can we get 2?
And a 10. A 10's a little better.
Sorry, my mic was off. A 10 is enough to get you out of the thicket without taking damage. It's not a terribly large thicket. It's just kind of entangling. The two of you find yourselves down here, while Aya and Ryutaro remain up above.
You, Goro.
I'm going to try and dexterously make my way over there, avoiding the sawed planks and the like.
Okay, just go ahead and give me a quick acrobatics check.
It is an 18.
You make it down, no problem. Aya, how would you like to make it down?
You said it's pretty steep by like 5 or 10, like about 10 or 15 feet. Like, is it like a slide down or is it like a rocky?
It's a pretty rocky. It's a pretty rocky descent. I mean, you could climb it.
I mean, sure, she'll do that. She'll climb down. What would
Okay.
I give you in athletics, acrobatics?
In this, go ahead and give me athletics. Because you're climbing.
Okay. 16.
You make it down as well. So the party finds themselves in this encampment. And now that you're down here, you're certainly able to see halfling clothing, carcasses of various livestocky looking animals. A very murky section of the river, as well as a table that has kind of papers set up, some spoiled food, what appears to be a chest, kind of at the face of a cave.
Ryutaro, I have a sudden realization after seeing the clothes from the halflings, remembering the docket that was the map was drawn on that said something about a show or some sort of theater. I realize, guys, the kobolds were stealing the clothes for costumes for a play. It all makes sense. These are thespian kobolds. We should go with caution.
Kobolds.
Never trust a theater rat.
Oh, dude. Oh.
Is there any of that dark goo around?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Or 10.
You step away from the party for a little bit, and you make your way down to the river, and you find that, yes, very much there is goo kind of, as if you've ever been to the beach and like as waves kind of lap up against the shore and leave residue, there's kind of a line or two of this dark goop. along the river.
I let everyone else know there's goo over here.
Ugh. Even more. Ugh.
I have to say, I'm extremely curious to see a show put on by these kobolds.
I think that this calls for some investigation.
And maybe we should also be checking for other traps in the off chance that.
No, I think that 2 is probably the most.
I said, Goro, does any of that goo go from the door to the river? Or is it just at the river?
I'm looking around and it appears to be mostly at the river, but what do my Leonin eyes see?
Yes, that would be
Yes.
accurate.
Can I go over towards the river where the goo is and see, like, does it seem like there was a lot of foot traffic back and forth between it? Or recent, especially?
Most of the foot traffic appears to be about where you guys are, and there does not seem to be much traffic down to the water itself.
Okay. Does the traffic seem, like, recent? Is it fresh? Does it seem like it's kind of been a while
No,
since...
it's relatively recent, yeah.
Okay. Seeing that, I'm just saying, so it seems like there's been kobolds or something around them. coming through here pretty recently, but it doesn't seem like they have anything going on with that goo. In fact, it seems to be kind of away from it. What is that? Ugh. I don't know.
I think
think
your
I'm-
observation is correct.
Mhm.
And we were hired to investigate the immediate troubles with the thespian kobolds. But I would like to follow up on the goo thereafter.
I agree.
Let's get the kobolds.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to, Guildmaster, I'd like to take a closer look over to that. It looks like there's a cave or an alcove
Yeah.
or something
Sure.
to the one side there. I kind of want to, and there looks like there's a table. Maybe it has like a map or a chest near it.
Yeah.
Looks like there's some goodies over there. I want to go take a look and see what they are.
Okay, so you make your way over there.
Making my way.
Go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, okay. Dex. That's a 4.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
You
man.
you maybe didn't catch the clearly sliced bridge, right? Pre-cut bridge. So it might not have occurred to you that this is an area that is perhaps trapped, as one might say. And so you take a step kind of to the mouth of the cave over what is kind of laid out leaves. And as you take a step, you hear a snap and then a whizz, and you follow the sound of the whizz over to the side, and you see kind of coming out of the leaves is a string. And you follow that string that has now been cut up the 10-foot rock wall, and you see a stick that has kind of 2 prongs on the end of it, gets snapped by the pulling string and releasing several very large boulders, and they tumble down onto you.
No
Watch out!
traps.
For
No traps,
9
huh?
points of bludgeoning damage.
How many?
9.
9? Okay.
Well, at
Okay.
least there's not much that would cause them to hear us coming. So.
Ah.
Are you all right?
Yeah. No. You sure about that? No more traps. I'm gonna have her. Gonna have her cast find traps. Cause after that, no, she's not dealing with this again.
Okay, so she casts Find Traps. And let's just check real quick.
Presence of any trap within 120 feet of me. That would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect you consider harmful or undesirable, which is specifically not intended as such by the creator. It would sense an area affected by alarms, glyphs of warding, or a mechanical pit trap, things of that nature.
Yeah, they're pretty much all over. Like, you cast it, and like around the perimeter in the tree lines are all kinds of like different trip wires and strings and mechanical-y type. So yeah, it's all over, and you can even sense a couple of them coming from the cave.
Yeah, so I cast it, and they all kind of like illuminate, or she can ping them, and then she kind of like gives Ryu a flat look of just like, yeah, there's no traps at all. And it's just all behind me. You just see all of the traps.
my hands like fly up, and I'm just like, hey, I said probably.
Fair enough. Why would they have so many traps set up here?
Well, maybe it's because, not all kobolds are fighters. You know, maybe they just don't want to fight us directly, so they put up some some traps.
Mora, go ahead and give me a
Maybe their
history check.
production is top secret.
Say that again, DM.
Yes, please, Guildmaster. Sorry.
Mora, go ahead and give me a history check.
11.
In your research of different monsters and creatures of Agonia, you probably come across information about kobolds, and unlike many monstrosities or monstery type creatures, they can actually be surprisingly intelligent, and considering their size, it's not uncommon for kobolds to set and lay out traps in their warrens to ward off larger creatures.
I suppose none of us should be surprised. These kobolds are tricksy things. Many of my readings have long told stories of those who stumble across warrens filled with the sort of things that you just experienced, Aya. Do you have a way of finding all of these? Do we have some way of sweeping? Otherwise, I fear we're going to be caught in brambles and slammed by rocks until we all choose to depart.
Well, unfortunately, the spell that I have, I know a spell called Find Traps, which is great. It reveals to me that there's traps present, but I don't know the location of each one. But I do understand, essentially, kind of how they function. There's a lot of practical trip wires and nets and all sorts of things like that, just in the trees, on the ground, down near the dock, even coming from the cave over here.
Well, then perhaps if we sweep ahead of us, some sort of branch or pole or something.
Well, what if? So I mean, these kobolds obviously have some form of intelligence. I mean, they can speak and write common. I know most kobolds speak Draconic, which, I mean, I do. So, do you want to try and just, like, talk to him? Instead of trying to trudge through there, we could try and, like, I can call in there and tell him we just want to talk with them. Maybe we can convince him to come out rather than trudging in, you know?
That is a fair point.
I mean, I doubt they don't know we're here already. I mean,
I'm sure that they do.
Quiet.
Well, I didn't know you could speak Draconic. It sounds like
Well,
a
I
fine
am
idea.
quite the polyglot, I'll have you know. Spent many a day, wide and far, learning the languages of many. At that, I, in very choppy Leonin, try and say something to Goro in the affirmative, but it's just like, I say like dumpling instead of got that right. And
I snicker as soon as I hear it. I laugh at what he says, and I respond back in Leonin like, "Oh, are you hungry?"
I just close my eyes, take a calm breath, and say, use your words on the kobolds, but be ready to kill them all.
all right. Well, here goes. I kind of walk up to the cave entrance and as I'm walking up, I look and make sure there aren't any tripwires or little like patches of leaves or something that could be another form of rock tumbling.
In this case, the Aya did set off the trap in front of the mouth of the cave, so you don't notice anything immediately.
All right, well, I'm going to go to the mouth of the cave and cup my hands around my mouth and kind of yell down in Draconic, "Hello, kobold friends. I'm Ryu, and I'm here with, me and Koji just came here to see your play. We saw your flyers and admire the arts, and we'd love to, as friends of the Draconic, we'd love to converse with you. Why don't you come on out and chat? We're friendly."
Okay, well, why don't you give me a friendly perception check? Sorry, not percent. Persuasion
Yeah.
check.
Okay. Nice. I got a 19.
Okay, so after a moment or so, you begin hearing chirps, draconic-like chirps. Chip, chip. Chip, chip, chip. Moment. Chip, chip, chip. Moment. Chirp. And a few moments go by, and from the mouth of the cave, which is very dark, but you have dark vision, so you're able to kind of see coming forward through the cave is 3 kobolds. They're coming through the cave, but it's difficult to see them in that there are more of those kind of slot wooded posts at the mouth of the cave. So at first you're just kind of able to catch shadowy figures kind of going back and forth around these wooden stakes before they reach the front of the cave.
I want to say I am holding Koji out as proof that it's not just me saying I am like friends of draconic species. Like I'm like, hey, kind of holding it like, hey, look at that. Yeah.
Okay, give me one moment here. There we go. Okay, so coming out of the cave are these 3 kobolds. Now, the first 2 appear to be simple kobolds, looking at you somewhat suspiciously. The third appears to be just a little bit larger, is carrying kind of a walking stick, and has kind of an elegant gait to him as he kind of walks up. He speaks in Draconic, a very chirp-like Draconic, and Ryu, you understand him to be saying, and anybody who can speak Draconic understand him to be saying, so, you would like to see a performance?
It's noticing kind of the more quote-unquote elegant walk, I kind of immediately see that this is a kobold of some stature. And falling back from my young days, I remember how to treat people of such high stature, and I say, oh, of course. One as elegant as yourself. I am honored to meet you. I am Ryu. And I do a surprisingly formal bow to this kobold.
Which roughly translates to, oh, yes, well, we do appear to have some rather distinguished guests here. Bip, bop, let us prepare a performance.
I would be most gracious to be to have the honor of viewing your performance with me and my friends here. Shall we come in, or will you come out and display?
Well, it is quite a lovely afternoon. If you would prefer, we can certainly set up a stage right out here.
Well, I, as one as clearly as dignified as you, would know best where a play of such grandeur would best be shown. So please,
Yes.
set your stage where you will.
Wonderful. Yes, wonderful. And he begins to kind of, in Draconic, ordering around the 2 kobolds that he has referred to as Bip and Bop, to begin setting things up. And they kind of look at each other suspiciously in kind of a confused way, but they do what they are told and kind of pull that table over a bit and set up some, like a little ramshackle staircase to the top. They set up some torches. They bring out some benches for all of you to sit, and as they kind of gesture for each of you to sit, as Bol, as he introduces himself, B-O-L, begins to set up some things on stage. There appears to be a cage, there's some jars, some set decoration, that sort of thing. This takes a little while if any of the rest of you would like to do anything as the kobolds go about setting up the stage area.
Ria, it's going well. I take it.
Of course, yes. My, our esteemed host, Bull, I kind of, extend my hand in like a gesture towards him. Bull gladly wants to show us their play, their show, and
Insight
has
check.
honored us.
I would love to do an insight check on what's actually going on. Like, are we actually getting a show, or is this like, oh yeah, we'll throw something together because this is definitely what we were doing type of deal.
Go for it.
Come on. Natural 20 for a total of 25.
Okay. You are looking around, and you notice that Bull, the slightly larger, seemingly a little bit more intelligent of them, is kind of very pretentiously, like, kind of setting things up on the stage. He might put down a jar on the stage and then sets back for a moment, hand on his chin, arm crossed, and he turns it ever so slightly. And he begins kind of pacing and setting his space around the stage and going, hamana, 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 ha, hamana, 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 ha. But of course it's draconic, so chop, 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 chop. But you get the sense of what it is he's trying to accomplish here. You notice that the other two, Bip and Bop, though you don't know them by name, continuously chirp at each other. And it's a very chattery setup of this stage area. I mean, it's almost constant bickering between the two of them. And you notice, now you do not speak Draconic, I'm correct in this, yes?
I do not, no.
So, you do notice, however, that there do tend to be somewhat cautious, nervous glances about as they're setting up. So that between their bickering and whatnot, they kind of glance about and whatnot, setting up. You don't know, however, if this is just common for what creatures that tend to be prey animals or not.
Guildmaster.
Yes.
The moment I truly believed that they were going to start setting this up, I will sit down on the ground, pull out my spellbook, and begin a ritual cast of Comprehend Languages. I do not want to miss a minute of what they're about to do.
Wonderful. Sorry, go for it, Ryu.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I do want to kind of, as they're setting up, I kind of want to quietly just say to my companions that, I don't know if any of you speak Draconic, but if you do, I'm sorry. And I'm gonna start kind of trying to walk around with Bull and be like, so, Bull, how does one of your stature and elegance come about here? I know I found it very hard to find people of such eloquence. I mean, most of my underlings here are quite dim, if you will.
Aya kind of Aya looks at him like,
yeah. This is in Draconic.
oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Give me a persuasion check.
Yeah. Oof. That is a 7.
A 7. Bull kind of is setting up the stage. Clearly, he will be the star of this performance, And he kind of, yes, I understand what it is you are saying. However, please, for the time being, as we set up the performance, I would ask that you find your seat. I must find my muse. And again, all of you hear this as, except for Mora, who is slowly beginning to hear fine. Muse. Words are beginning to form in your mind as you cast comprehend languages. The 10 minutes goes by and you are kind of all ushered towards the seating area. First you come up, you're kind of pushed with the hands out. The Bip and Bop kind of push you into a line towards the seating area, and they dash away. And a moment later, they dash back. Now, Bip is wearing what serves as something like a bow tie, a little ribbon tied around his neck. And Bop has found a very elegant blue sundress and is wearing a very large hat with a feather kind of protruding out of the top. And they're both standing in a very stately kind of manner. And Bip reaches a hand out to each of you as you pass and gives you a scrap of paper, which is alluding, in his motion is alluding that each of you should take one. And a moment passes as each of you take one, and Bop takes the piece of paper and tears it up into little pieces, and then gestures for you to find a seat in the theater.
Gave us tickets. I take it and walk with in a very pompous way, shoulders back, chin high, in my most quote-unquote elegant walk of high society, and find a seat.
I will follow in behind and sit down as well.
I'll go and sit next to Mora.
I have no idea what's going on.
Me neither.
Are we helping the satyrs? What are we about to do right now?
Patience. This will all make sense. I think.
Ryu is befriending them.
I let out a low growl and I guess and he's gonna sit down somewhere.
I'm imagining just Goro, your tail is just like annoyingly flicking back and forth like a cat that's just kind of irritated.
Yes, that's about right.
My little culture never hurt anybody.
Kobold culture doesn't exist.
Not with that attitude.
As the four of you sit, Bip and Bop have now kind of taken off their costumes and replaced them with black leotards and blow out the candles that they lit. Doesn't do much as it is late afternoon, right? But a certain ambiance is set. And Bull had set up some curtains at the front of the stage.
It's all right. It's the matinee. We've got this.
Bip comes to stand in front of the curtains, gives a bow, and then Bip and Bop pull the curtains aside before kind of hands at shoulder length spread out, kind of on their tiptoes, run to either side of the stage in a surprisingly elegant manner. And Bip takes up a very thin piece of metal and begins wiggling it. And then Bop on the other side has some beads in a jar and is shaking them. And you're surprised by the effectiveness of the sound effects to this performance. And in the revealed curtains, in somewhat of a constricted pose, kind of leg over thigh, arms twisted, head bowed down, is Bull. And as soon as the rainstorm effects starts, he spreads arm, legs, and tail wide like a rising dragon at dawn, and begins to narrate as the dance takes over. He begins to writhe and twist, moving in ways that it was unknown that a kobold could move, as he begins describing the creation of the world. The creation of the world through the perspective of a kobold. All of you are relatively well versed in the common understanding of the creation of Dayrin, of his sibling gods, but this iteration of it, as best could be understood by Ryu and Mora, is a very strange interpretation of it, one that involves a character who seems to be Bull, and Bull is guiding the creation of the universe and ruling over dark gods, and there is quite a lot of violence and fighting, and Dayrin is there, but he's something of a pathetic-like creature. For Aya and Goro, it is just hip thrusts and shoulder gyrations and chirps on stage as, he takes that jar that's all green and he passes it in front of his face, and as it does, it kind of creates this bowling effect, this fisheye lens effect. He takes it up, he takes it down, to the side, to the side. Top. This goes on for quite a while.
Mora will be quietly translating for the sake of the other two, but cannot help interjecting a running commentary about the errors that are being presented.
Oh.
I am just watching. Very regal pose, and just every once in a while throwing in a soft golf clap, and at parts where I think that it's like, I think that he means for this to be something extravagant, and where you kind of like, when Bull kind of does the looks to the crowd to see if it landed, I'm always like, yes, well done.
There's a pause for effect. You clap.
Goro, I actually start to lean in more and press Mora for more frequent updates and details as I'm getting more and more invested in whatever this is.
Okay, one moment. So, you are all getting more and more invested in this performance, and the performance is going on and on. I would like each of you to make for me a perception check.
Okay.
I have a 19.
19.
And a 13 for me.
13, okay.
16.
16.
I'm totally engrossed. I have only rolled a 5. I'm more interested in what was going on stage.
Okay. I like this image. Goro has started off very suspicious of this, but is suddenly terribly moved by the performance of Bull and is just thoroughly engrossed. Yes. It is you and Aya who notice first the expression of Bull begin to change in his performance. He continues the dance. The show must go on. But you begin to notice, Ryu and Aya, that his glance becomes a bit more unsteady. It's like he's like looking out behind you a bit. And you begin to notice, Aya, as well, that the Bip and Bop have kind of started being off time a bit with their sound effects.
Uh-huh.
And I need everybody to roll initiative.
Yeah.
The betrayal.
What's coming? The betrayal.
I'm shocked.
I have an 11.
I
10.
say.
I rolled a 9.
Why are we so bad at initiative?
It's an engrossing performance.
Yes, you discover that you discover that this is happening, but can barely pull yourself away from what is happening. Let me just put in a couple of numbers here.
Oh boy.
In the middle of describing how this particular dance maneuver was not exactly par for the course in terms of what the High Court was presenting last season, but there were some overtones that I had read about from other lesser locations in Esterfell.
Mora, could you give me your initiative roll one more time, please?
It was a 9.
A 9, thank you. Okay, so that puts us... So, Mora, as you are finishing this sentence, you are rather surprised. You are surprised to feel a viscous, thick sensation along your mid-back. Let's see here.
Ugh.
For a 19 to hit.
That will certainly hit.
Okay. And you take 6 points of necrotic damage as you feel that same acidic sensation on your back, and this enormous tongue wraps around you. Bull shouting out, "Big Tongue, no!" And you turn to look, and I might be in the wrong place, but we're gonna move. We're gonna move him up and over, and let's just make sure I'm in the right window here. I am not, so we're gonna switch this over. And so behind Mora, this long Victus tongue is reaching out 15 feet and has grappled Mora. And there is, at the end of this tongue, this large amphibious creature with widespread beady eyes and a billowing stomach. And it is pulling Mora towards it. That's its round. That brings us to the top with Bull. And Bull, Bip begins to scurry and run towards the mouth of the cave, making it Omi's turn, or Ryutaro's turn.
So as Bull... Oh, wait, no, they're running towards the mouth of the cave. Correct. Sorry.
Bip
Okay.
is running
Yeah.
towards the mouth of the cave. Yeah.
Can I look real quick and just see how Bull is reacting right now?
He looks fairly distraught. Both that his play seems to have been destroyed, but also at what is unfolding here.
Okay. So I'll yell in Draconic to... But it's clear that they called out to this guy, to this frog, as in, no! As in they're familiar in some regard, correct?
Yes.
All right. I yell, I say to Draconic, do not let your creature take my servants. And I quickly make an attack to try and save Aya, because I am quite concerned seeing a giant frog.
It's Mora.
It's
Mora.
Mora.
More. Oh, sorry. My apologies. All right. And I rolled a 4 to hit. So I do not think.
No, it's
Yep.
all coming together very, very quickly. You
Yes.
just turned around and were able to grab your bow. You send off a warning shot, but it lands
Yep.
there in the carriage.
I do think as a. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Does something else happen? Oh yeah, because just then as a bonus action, I think seeing Mora, one of our companions, get attacked, Koji immediately flies to action and runs over and is going to make a bite attack against said frog or beast.
Yep.
So that is an 18 to hit.
Let's see here. That will hit.
Nice. So that will do 8 damage.
Oh,
Once
wow.
again, Koji's coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
Woohoo.
Okay, give me 1 second. I messed that up. Yeah. Okay, 8 damage. Good. And that then makes it Goro's turn.
Coming to my senses, I leap up, shield discarded because I had sat down with it, set it aside, leap up, grabbing my spear, charge towards the toad thing, and thrust forward with a two-handed spear attack. And I let out a cry of superiority maneuver and add an additional precision attack to my roll, which is a D1D8 for 13 plus 7, 18, 19, 20 to hit.
20.
Dirty 20 to hit.
20 will hit.
As I thrust, two-handed thrust. Hold on. Okay. For 7 points of damage, and then I spin my spear around for a bonus action of a butt end attack of my spear, which is 17 to hit
Nice.
That will also hit.
for an
And
additional point of 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
And then Koji will use his reaction to give it an additional 1d6 of fire damage.
Should
which
I
will
roll
just
that?
give-
Yeah, you roll that as well.
Yeah, alright.
I will roll it for 3 points of fire damage on top of that.
Great.
Does that release the tongue around Mora?
No. No, it does
Dang.
not.
Dang.
Okay. Let's go to so it is now Bip's turn, and Bip kind of runs over behind the stage and pulls out a sling, and he doesn't pause to consider, the situation. They've clearly called out to Big Tongue here, and he, with his sling, fires off a shot at Ryutaro, but for an 11 to hit, which I do not believe hits.
Nope.
Okie doke.
It does not.
Shoot. Good. So give me just 1 second as I hit refresh on the encounter, and it is pulling up. There we go. Making it Mora's turn. Mora, you can go ahead and give me a strength saving throw, if you would like to try to break the grapple.
Rather than the strength saving throw, I would have just, in shock at the cold necrotic energy and being pulled up, screamed and eyes wide. I will cast Misty Step
Ooh.
and
Ooh.
ramp myself over a little behind Aya, and not losing focus on that creature that was hauling me away, I will immediately pivot and cast a Mind Sliver on it.
Okay. And that was intelligence saving throw?
Yes, Intelligence 13.
Wow. He actually makes that save. You do not get the sense that he is particularly intelligent, but it seems as though he's focusing on you having bamped out of his tongue so much that he can't concentrate on being slivered.
I will give a little growl and start preparing something stronger for him.
So that makes it Bull's turn. And Bull, who I accidentally have off of the stage over here, but that's fine. Bull reaches for that green jar that he had been holding, and he throws it at Goro. And does not hit as he rolls a 10. So the jar kind of slams down at your feet and shatters. And what emerges from it is a green slime. And it begins gurgling and wiggling back and forth and moving towards you. But that'll be its turn, making it Aya's turn.
Oh my gosh, there's so much happening right now. Question for the DM. Is the how far away is the slime from the frog? The giant toad that's
It's on just the other side of Goro. So Goro's in between the frog and the slime.
Okay. Alright, I would like to I'm gonna cast Fairy Fire and center it so that it's just on, so that the 20-foot cube is just around the frog, not on Goro specifically, because I only want to keep the frog in that.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm gonna he has to make a dex save of 13.
Okay. Give me just a second to make our little area of effecty square. And is he dexterous? We'll find out. Oh, he's actually... Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Dexterity, one more time. He fails.
Perfect. So he is surrounded with like a with a shimmering light, basically outlined in a light. If he fails, for the duration, objects and affected creatures shed light, and any attack roll against him gets advantage if the attacker can see it. And that creature cannot benefit from becoming invisible or not seen. So, for at least for up to 1 minute, he is glowing like an aqua blue color to make it easier to hit.
Great. Okay, so he is glowing. That's its turn. So now Bop also appears with a sling, and he will fire a shot off at Goro for a 12 to hit, which clearly does not hit. This now makes it the Banderhob's turn. And the Banderhob is shocked and surprised to have lost its quarry in the form of Mora. And so as it's looking around, it notices that it just got struck by a strange little mouth-sized creature. And it shoots its tongue out. It has 15-foot reach, so it shoots its tongue out to grab at Koji.
No.
For an 18 to hit.
Oh, that hits.
Okay.
Oh no.
Let's see here.
No!
Koji needs to make me a... Oh, wait, I'm rolling for damage. That is going to be 8 points of damage.
Oof. Okay.
And Koji needs to make me a strength saving throw.
Strength saving throw.
Yep.
I think that's just a straight D20.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets a 9.
Okay. The tongue whips into the mouth. Let me just make one more roll here. Yes. Koji disappears into the Banderhob's mouth, and you hear bloop as the Banderhob swallows Koji whole.
No!
That makes it, however, Ryu's turn.
So seeing that immediately, it's like two flames just like explode in my eyes. And so question.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't see code. Never mind. So this is not his strong suit, but I think seeing this, I am going to just let out just a scream of just like pain, fear, and rage, and let go one shot with my bow.
Okay.
Ooh, which is a dirty 20 to hit with marksman.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And you have
plus-
advantage.
Yeah, you have advantage because
Oh.
I cast fairy fire on it. So everyone attacking it has advantage.
Gotcha. All
On
right,
their
so
attack rolls.
I didn't get the crit on the second one, but
Okay. But you did get the hit.
Yep. And I hit max damage for 21.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And so this is where my question
Yeah.
comes, because Koji is inside of him. I don't know if he's alive or dead. He still has hit points left, but can I make it an infused strike using Koji's reaction, even though I cannot see him?
No, because he is restrained.
Gotcha. All right, and then I am going to do something that is not my strong suit, but I am in a mode of panic. I am going to start running directly at the frog and get ready to jump on it next turn.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just put this
And-
damage in here.
Yeah, and while I do it, I activate my hunter's mark on it as well. Just like fully just getting ready to go in on this.
Sure. Okay, so that makes it Goro's
Yep.
turn.
Give Koji back.
I will continue to strike with my spear and with advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 17 to hit on the first roll.
That'll hit.
All right, so we'll go with that. Again, a two-handed strike
Mm-hmm.
for 4 points of damage. And I'll continue with my bonus attack, which is a 12 to hit, but with advantage. Turns into dirty 20 to hit
That'll hit.
for another 6 points of damage. And I let out a rage action surge! And I do another spear attack. With advantage first roll is
Get
17.
it. Yeah.
That'll hit.
Dirty 20 is the actual two-handed thrust for 4 points of damage.
All right.
Did you get all that?
I did, yeah.
Excellent.
All right, wonderful. Well, that as you come tearing in between the attacks of Ryutaro, but also the slashing spears of Goro, you have bloodied this Banderhob creature, making it the kobold's turn, who throws another sling. This is the one that has been hitting towards Ryutaro. And it gets a natural 20. So with its sling and its natural 20, that is 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oof.
Making it Mora's turn.
I am absolutely appalled at what has been happening here. And I will, at second level, reaching into the magic I know so well, take Witch Bolt, converting the lightning to flame, and attempt to streak an arc and cast it and bond it to me. And I get to try and go for it twice, I believe.
You get advantage on your attack too.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So she needs it. Damn.
24. Not so great on the damage, but anyway, 5 points of fire damage, and I've got it locked now.
Okay, that's Mora's turn. Bowl is up, and this time he takes the cage that he had set up and he pulls off of it the cover to reveal that it is swarming with large centipedes, and he throws it to hit Mora, having her her cast that spell, and that is a 12 to hit.
And that will hit.
Okay, so that causes 2 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are covered in a swarm of centipedes.
Oh.
If you need Witch Bolt, go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw.
There we go, 5.
Okay.
Oh no.
So that you were concentrating on Witch Bolt, correct?
Correct. It will drop.
Yeah. So you drop the Witch Bolt.
Oh,
Making it Aya's turn.
Okay, so if I have Fairy Fire, because I still have Fairy Fire up, and that requires concentration, does that keep me from being able to cast a different spell?
Just a different concentration spell. You're still.
It's a
good to
different
go.
concentration. Okay. I don't want to burn my friends. One moment.
Now might be an okay time for a spiritual weapon.
If I had a second level spell slot.
Oh no! Oh
But
no!
I don't.
He spoke too soon.
Oh, too soon. Okay. How bad are some people looking? Goro, what's your health looking like?
I'm strong and ready to go.
Okay, so you're fine.
Below half.
I'm doing
You're
okay.
You are, what was that?
I'm below half.
You're below half? Okay, I'm going to, since Mora and I are very close, I'd like to do a, step to one side and tap her with a quick, cure wounds.
Great. Okay, so you cure wounds. Why don't you go ahead and roll that amount of healing? What does she get back?
She got her the max I could give her, so
Wow.
11 points.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
that'll take me to full. Sister be praised.
Sister,
So I got-
praised.
Yeah, so that knocked you back up to full. And I'm focusing on keeping that, because the toad to me is the really big thing we gotta beat here, because he just ate Koji, and that's not cool. And anything he's doing is not great. So I'm just focusing on keeping my fairy fire on him, like tracking.
So you're able to keep the fairy fire up. I don't believe this, but Bop, one of the two regular kobolds, kind of pops up. Chip chip! And in a moment of bravery, he's really whipping this sling around, and it fires a rock that sails through the air and hits Goro square in the back of the head. I rolled my attack, and I know your AC. It hits you in the back of the head, unless you can beat a dirty 20, which I
No,
don't think you can.
it hits.
It hits. So you get hit in the head by a rather large pebble for 3 points of bludgeoning damage. And
Real David and Goliath right there.
real David and Goliath moment. And Bop kind of holds the pose in disbelief, but also pride for a moment, before ducking back down to get some cover behind the, behind the thing. Oh, it's outside. Oh, bummer. Okay, so it can't use that feature. It is the Banderhob's beginning turn. And inside the stomach, Koji takes 10 points of necrotic damage.
Oh
He's down. He's down to two health.
Okay. And so
DM,
yes.
don't forget the green slime.
Yes, the green slime, which we will do then at the beginning of the of Bowl's turn, because I did forget it, and we'll just put it into the right place in initiative. But instead, Goro, the Banderhop sees you. You're the only one really in front of him. So, despite you being big, he is a large creature, so he is bigger, and he goes to bite you. Oh, and that's going to be a 26 to hit.
That hit.
What? Oh my god.
For 18 points of necrotic, piercing damage as he bites into you with these large piercing teeth.
That said 18?
Yeah.
That drops me.
No.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. Is that, oh no, I don't know if that's a reaction. I have Shield of Faith. That would have shielded you and granted you a +2 to your AC, but I don't think that would have worked, would
It's
it?
alright. I didn't expect him to come in strong like that.
No.
I'm down.
I didn't either. Oh no.
Yeah, it's a big bite. That is a big bite. So you see, the three of you watch as your biggest frontline fighter drops hard to the ground, and the Banderhop looks as though he's getting ready to wrap his tongue around an unconscious Goro.
Don't you dare.
This makes it Ryu's turn.
So I'm in the process of running. I actually just throw my bow down and pull out my short sword and just yell, and I jump and I try and slam the sword into the head of the bull. I mean,
Okay.
swords aren't my best, but hopefully. Oh, I have advantage still, right?
You have advantage. Everybody who's attacking him has advantage.
11 is my best.
Does not hit. The emotions run high as you watch Koji get eaten, and it seems as though Goro may be next. It's a bit too distracting as you go to slice. Goro, I'm going to need a death saving throw.
I'm just looking at how to do this on D&D Beyond. I'm guessing it's just a D20.
I think so, and we'll just
All right.
keep it in mind if not.
I could have a tracker here.
Yeah.
A 15.
That is a success. You will remain alive for a moment longer. Our other kobold fires another slingshot, this time at Ryu for a 14 to hit. Does not hit.
That meets.
Oh, that
nope,
meets.
that meets.
Okay.
Yep.
So that is going to be 5 points of piercing, bludgeoning damage as one of the pebbles hits you in the head.
They're hitting me pretty consistently.
As it is that the two of you are in front. Mora, it is your turn.
I will say, Aya, help Goro. I'll take care of the others. And I will cast Sleep on the 3 kobolds.
Okay. How much sleepiness do they take?
23 total points.
That is more than enough to... Actually, that is exactly enough to drop all 3 of them to sleep.
Don't tango with the Queen of Dreams.
And all 3 of them poof to the ground. Bull is curled up with his thumb in his mouth, suddenly has a body pillow, and they are out at your command.
Cool.
Making it Aya's turn. Aya, you see as Mora has suddenly, yet again, with a blast of dust, magical dust set to sleep, another round of foes. But the reality is that a very emotional Ryu is trying to attack this Banderhob, but Koji is gone and Goro seems to be next.
Well, I'm not gonna let that happen. So I'm gonna run up to Goro, do like kind of a run and slap like onto the shoulder, pop a cure wounds.
Okay.
It's not much. I gave you 7 back, Goro.
I will take it.
It's more than dead.
You
My
pop
eyes,
back to 7.
my eyes pop open with a gasp.
And where's my bonus actions? Here we go. And for my bonus action, I'd like to erect a shield of faith over Goro. Goro, you get a +2.
Okay, Shield of Faith is which level spell?
It's a first level.
Okay, so again, because
It's a concentration though, so it would drop the.
yeah, but
it would-
also because you use Cure Wounds, that's eating up your spell availability. So you can only do like a cantrip as a bonus action at this point.
Oh, okay. So then cross that. Okay, never mind to that then, because I still want to keep up the.
Yeah, the Fairy Fire.
Fairy fire. Yeah. Trying to see if there's anything else. It doesn't look like it. If I had a second level, I would do. I don't have that spiritual weapon right now though. I don't have any more.
So they are all asleep, which makes it the Banderhob's turn, and it will roll more than 2 points. So Koji is gone. You hear from the Banderhob as it seems to be digesting something down into its gullet. Then it takes its tongue and realizes that Goro is back up, but felt like that was a rather large bite that it was trying to take, and seeing what appears in front of it as a perhaps much more delicious treat in the form of Aya, lashes its tongue out at Aya for a 21 to hit.
Warding flare.
Okay. Hit me with Warding Flare. What do we got again?
When you're attacked by a creature that can be blinded within 30 feet that you can see, use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll.
Okay. And that saves you. So it shoots out its tongue. And it seems like it's on a trajectory to hit you, but you blind it with this blasting light, and it kind of swirls in the air before hitting down on the ground, and he retracts it into his mouth, ending its turn, bringing Ryu up.
All right, I am just going to be, because I'm distraught, I'm just going to be yelling, "Give me back Koji!" as I keep swinging. With advantage still. So that is a dirty 20.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Yep. And I deal 5 damage. As I just don't use the sword, so it's mostly just like, oh, actually, and I get 1d6 for Hunter's Mark as well. Sorry.
Okay, great.
Or an additional 3. So 8 damage total. Just, yeah. Just swinging like rage, tears, all of it. Just give him back.
Give me back, Koji. Goro, you feel the healing powers of the gods seep through Aya and into you as you are brought back to several hit points. You are back at it.
Through blood-soaked fur, I let out a rage, a roar, and shout, "Second wind!" as I roll for additional 1d10 plus 3 hit points.
Nice.
That is 10 plus 3.
Nice.
Nice.
Give me a second to get myself back up. And now, with full of vigor, I grab my spear for a two-handed attack, and for 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
And I give
Well,
a
you
thorns-
also get advantage on it, so
Oh, let me just check that just to make sure.
you never know.
Yeah, I'll take the 19 because that one was an 8.
Okay.
And let me go back to my damage. There was 5 damage from my spear.
Okay. He's not looking great. He's still up, but he's not looking great. You're seeing these cuts into between what you and Ryu have laid down on him. You're seeing these cuts, and where muscle is exposed, it's this gooey, oily, black muscle. These slabs.
Just shout, everyone, focus your attack on this thing.
And those words bring up Mora's turn.
And Mora, responding to Goro's command, will unleash another witch bolt. This one as lightning, not fire. And at first level, 15.
15 will hit.
Excellent. And 4 more points of damage.
Okay. Then we go Mora to Aya.
Hey, I'm gonna channel divinity. This turn.
Okay.
Channel divinity. He has to. Let me see. Yeah, a creature must make a con saving throw of 13.
He got 24.
Okay.
He is pretty burly.
He's burly, but he still takes half the damage. So instead of 17, what would that be?
We'll round up to 18, so that'd be 9 points of damage.
Okay, and I want to channel it straight through his head, not his body, because on the off chance that Koji might still be salvageable, I want to go straight through his head.
Right. So he gets hit by this enormous mote of radiant energy as the sun banishes the darkness, and it is as if radiant sun energy from the gods themselves cracks out of the sky and lands its light on this horrid creature. So basically the dawn comes down, and emanating around all of you is this holy light. And as it reaches out in the 30-foot radius, you see as the kobolds are blasted away into nothingness. And you see as the Banderhob is blasted away into nothingness as regular light comes back into focus, and just glimmers of the magic energy float into each of your rings. And we are out of initiative.
What about Koji?
Koji is nowhere to be found.
Yeah. I just kind of fall to my knees at the ground underneath where it was, and I'm just weeping.
I immediately run over to him and give him a hug.
It's like, Koji! What? Don't leave me, Koji. I can't. Look. What? I'm just curled over, just like pounding the ground, just like every form of grief just tearing through me, essentially. Just
Ryu,
and you know, then as I'm pounding the ground and just distraught, I suddenly stop. I kind of lean back on my knees and just kind of I wipe away my eyes. I'm like, I always forget this part. And then I'm gonna, as an action, do Drake Companion Summon, and Koji's gonna pop right back out into existence. God. It's just like I grab Koji and I just hug him. It's like, buddy, you gotta stop doing that. You know I always forget. You scare me every time.
My face.
And I'm still crying.
My face is ghostly white, and she's just like. And then she grabs him and starts shaking his shoulders, like. And she's like also crying, like. I didn't know he did that.
I forget it all the time too. It never makes it easier.
Hey. How many kobold warrens do you know have only 3 kobolds? I'll look towards the cave, ready for anything that might come next.
You think of kobolds at a time like this? I'm just like swaddling Koji.
Goro, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Yeah. That is a 17.
After a moment, you get the sensation that this is perhaps a fairly new. You're looking around and you realize that this might very well have been a new setup for them, and that that might have been the totality of the Warren, and you are all out of initiative.
Can I use my spear to flick the green slime into the pit over there?
Sure, but whatever the green slime was, it's just a charred husk now from the radiant energy.
Oh, never mind. Good.
So all of the kobolds and everything, they're just completely gone, right?
Yeah, you've absorbed them into your rings.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just kind of, so after collecting myself, like I kind of like do that, wipe my face, wipe my eyes, like quickly.
Yeah, and
act like I was never. Yeah.
But it's hard to hide because they're big globs of snot and tears. Try to collect yourself.
Doing a very poor job of hiding the fact that I like just being like trying to be like, what do you mean I was overacting? I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. Anyway, and I just kind of walk over to where Bolt was, and I'm just like, I swear, people like that are always the same, you know? You tell them they're elegant, they get all pompous and full of themselves, and then they just end up being assholes. Every time.
I just shake my head in some measure of frustration and disgust, both with myself and the entire situation, and I turn over to Aya and say, well done. You saved us there in the end. Thank you.
I also put a hand on her shoulder. Thank you for your courage and your bravery in saving me.
You're welcome.
Save me again, Aya. Thank you.
She kind of gives I kind of give a thumbs up to everybody. She, no problem. And her hair is kind of like smushed off to one side and kind of crazy.
So, I think that we solved the problem for that town, right? I mean, I don't think any more kobolds will be stealing their clothing.
Well, at the very least, them. I have to wonder what was bothering the druids and if this was it, or if it may have been something else. But we can always go back to them, tell them what we found.
Yeah.
Bring some of that slime with.
Exactly. I think the goo is a different problem.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, as inconvenient as this is, I will say I feel the troubles for the forest were greater than some eccentric kobolds and a glorified toad.
Mm-hmm.
So,
go ahead and I guess Ryu, go ahead and give me a perception check.
that is a 17.
Okay. You say that, but kind of as the party begins walking back towards the Druid Grove in the way that they came, I mean, it does occur to you that you've never happened upon a creature like that, and that it's at least in fitting with what Gale described as being the kinds of things that have disrupted the forest in the past, as well as a lot of that goo seems to be similar to what you saw on the owl bears in their matted wet fur. So it does occur to you that
Okay.
it might very well have been what was disrupting the forest.
Gotcha.
And in a world where adventurers often come up against things like goblins and kobolds, yeah, that was fairly unordinary.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I think it's at the very least we did a good thing, and hopefully we did it right, you know? I mean, I think the druids will be happy. I mean, if you think about it, actually those owlbears had that goo, so maybe we solved it.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I think I owe, we should go tell the satyrs that we solved their problem, and tell the druids that we're the same. I'm sure Gale will be happy.
Yeah.
And Kona, for that
clothing,
matter.
of course.
Yeah, I mean, if they still want it, as I hold up just like a slimy tunic.
Ugh, ugh. I mean, maybe it'll wash out.
Mhm.
At least it will be proof that we took care of the problem for them.
Mhm.
Should we search the cave?
I think there might be some things in there. I will say, I'm a little nervous from the traps.
Yeah, there's definitely traps, at least a couple in there. Guildmaster, I also see that there is a trunk that's kind of behind the...
It's costumes.
Oh, it's costumes. Okay. I was like...
I mean, there's you guys spend some time looking around. You can even check in the mouth of the cave a bit, and you discover that most everything here is costumes, broken crates that have been repurposed into things, that sort of stuff.
I am all for exploring the Warrens, but I am nearly exhausted in terms of my arcane abilities for this day.
Yeah.
Then
As much... Or go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ryu.
Well, as much as I hate to leave the explore, I think that going in is just going to risk us falling down to some traps, and we can always come back if there's something unsolved. But I don't know. I think the real problem was that Banderhog, and I think the kobolds were as eccentric as they were. I mean, they often fall to a subservient role to those quote greater beings. So with him gone, I think that any risk involved from or incurred from these guys may be gone. But I don't know. I don't want to stay too long.
Goro, I would say that you've cleared out some warrens before. They tend to be a little more than caves.
Okay. I think we're done. Either we make our way back to the Satyr camp, or we make camp here while we and rest for a short bit. Up to you.
I would say, just because of the amount of traps, if we don't want to get snarled up, at least step out of the warren just a little bit to get away from where they are. And then if we wanted to camp, we totally could. Just a suggestion.
Appreciate resting for at least a moment.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, a short rest, and then we can return to the Satyr village for a longer time.
Okay, so you make your way away from the warren, and you can set up something of a small camp for a short rest.
Yes, that sounds good.
You're able to take the short rest. Much of the forest seems relatively quiet and peaceful as you recoup yourselves.
I have nothing else to do other than a short rest, so when we're done, I think we should head back to the village.
Yes, I agree.
Indeed.
Or the Druids' enclave, whatever makes the most sense at this point.
Let us return to Gildan first.
Mm-hmm. Turn to Gildan, and then I think we should make our way back to the Druids. I think we've solved the issue here.
You make your way back to the Satyr village, and they are very, very appreciative. A little bit surprised to hear that there was such a creature living nearby in the forest. Gildan, though, thanks you profusely for your help and gives you whatever kind of food and whatever else you might need after your rest to kind of get back to your strength up. And just finds it very strange. And in passing, she kind of says, "Well, they must have come down from the mountains. It happens every once in a while, but hasn't happened since I was a youngling. It's strange, but that's the way of a world of monsters, I suppose."
I wonder what drives them down. Huh. Maybe Gaia will know more. Huh.
As we continue on, I will ask Mora, that creature we fought, bigger than a toad, have you ever seen anything like that? Do you know what it was?
Guildmaster, could I make a Arcana or a history check or some such?
Yeah, let's go with a history check.
24.
You have indeed read about creatures like this, and in the fire of the moment, it's difficult to recall. But the in the fire of the moment, it's difficult to recall. But as you make your way down, out of town, and you're having this conversation, you recall having come across readings of the Bander Hob, these amphibious creatures that dwell in shadows and swallow unsuspecting prey.
Relate that to the group. I have never seen one before, but I have read extensively upon them. They are abhorrent monstrosities, to be certain.
Thank you.
You make your way away from a waving and grateful village of satyrs and halflings. They, just like the druids earlier, they kind of walk you out of town and assure you, please do come back. I'm so sorry that you had to experience our village. Under such terrible circumstances. I promise normally it is quite a lovely place.
I'm sure it is. Hopefully it will continue being a nice place. And won't have any more issues with that frog thing. Ugh. She kind of shivers. I kind of shiver.
Yes, indeed. Well, safe journeys, and please do give the druids our best. It was so kind of them to reach out for help. The forest is clearly a better place for their help and for yours.
Let us return to the druids then.
All right. Yes. Let's go.
So, you'll remember that the Grove of the Druids is about a day's walk back. So at this point, you kind of were arriving at the performance in early to mid afternoon, I should say. And so by the time you have taken your short rest, spoken with the inhabitants of the village, and then made your way back to the grove, it's beyond sunset. It's now night. And as you approach, Ryutaro and Goro, why don't you go ahead and give me perception checks?
Gladly. I got a 22.
Ooh.
And I have an 11.
An 11, okay. So as you begin to approach Ryu, Aya and Mora, you two are kind of discussing the events of the day, and it's been quite a long journey, and how excited you might be to again enjoy the hospitality of the druids. Ryu, you begin to notice as first one, then another, and then several deer kind of come bounding by away from the grove with their white tails kind of up in the air, and they bound right past the group. And then moments later, the heavy flittering of bird wings above overhead. Again, fast as they can take them. Their wings can carry a flock of birds. You see them flying away. Goro, just as you see Ryu kind of noticing these animals, your keen senses begin to pick up the smell, the unmistakable smell of smoke.
I smell smoke. Possible
Something's
fire.
wrong.
Oh,
So I
no.
pick up my pace. I begin
Yep.
to run.
Let's go.
Start running.
I start sprinting towards the Druid Grove
Okay.
as well.
Oops. So we're a little zoomed in there. So you come out of the clearing. You're racing through brush and trees. As you race forward, more of the forest animals come charging towards you in the other direction. You break the clearing where you had been just earlier this morning to find the tree and the surrounding area ablaze. Not only is it ablaze, but around the base of the tree, you see the scattered bodies of many of the druids dead on the ground. Standing above several of the dead druids, you see two figures. The first figure is a tall, thin man in a loosely fitted robe with kind of shaggy, long, grayish blonde hair and sharp teeth and menacing eyes. And he's standing over another man who's much shorter and much larger in waist size, who's hunched over one of the druids and appears to be gnawing on a severed arm. And the two are kind of having a conversation back and forth, and everything is ablaze.
About how far are they?
They're pretty far. These are going to be about 5-foot squares. So I mean, the forest is a large area. So you see them kind of in the distance, but quite a bit of ways.
I will charge forward.
Yeah.
I'll bring you guys
And make
forward.
up a...
Yeah. It's like, what's going on here? No. Kona! Kill! And I just start yelling and looking around, trying to find him. As Goro runs up, I kind of looking around, but kind of hop skip behind him as well, while frantically looking around, trying to take in everything that's happening.
Ryutaro, give me a perception check.
Gladly. That is a natural 20 for a 23.
Okay. Not too far away from these two men, do you notice what appears to be Kona kind of on her stomach, and she's kind of crawling towards each of you, kind of crawling towards the party, clearly very hurt and injured.
Oh no.
No, no.
And I just
No.
keep sprinting up, trying to reach them.
I will follow, and if I'm in striking distance of a thrown weapon, I will take it.
Okay, we will roll for initiative. And between the shouting and the group kind of running forward, I won't go so far as to say it's a surprise round. Yeah.
Clearly not.
I rolled a 5.
15.
I also rolled a 15.
And Mora, can you give me yours one more time? There we go. It logged in.
14.
Sorry. Great. All right. So let's start there. So the party is running forward, dashing forward. And as you do, let me go ahead and we'll zoom in a little bit here.
So you said up until this point we've had a short rest, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
The man who's standing is first, and he notices the group charging, and he kind of gives a wicked, sinister smile and says, we have further company, Maga. Be at the ready. And he'll look to the group, and he's just gonna take you in for a moment. And that makes it Aya's turn.
Cool. Cool. All right. Whoop, sorry, I clicked a thing. I didn't need to click a thing. I apologize.
You're
You'll
fine.
see so click through. I wanted to see the description. I don't know if the range is on Divinity. It has a
already-
dash for.
Yeah, you can only use it once per day.
Yeah.
You can only use it once. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm going to. I'm not great with my spells, guys. I only have 2 more spell slots left. I'm going to. Range is very far. Okay, I'm going to run up to Kona. I'm gonna tap her. Is she close to us? Can I reach her?
I'm putting her on the board right now.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on.
So I'll say you could take your dash act, because I just kind of haphazardly put you guys here on the board. I'll say that if you use your dash action, you can get to her, but you won't be close enough to, take an action this turn.
Okay. There's not much else I can do, and I am the medic, so I'm gonna use my dash action to get up to Kona.
Okay, I'll put you about there. Yeah. Okay, that makes it Goro's turn. Goro, you are about 60 feet away from those two men.
Then I will take my full movement, which is 30,
Yep.
close the distance, and then pull a javelin out from under my cloak and hurl it at, whatever one is like right in front of me.
Okay, that would be the tall man.
All right, the tall man is getting a javelin thrown at him. Or a 7 to hit.
It sails wide.
And I just roar at him, egging him on. That's my action.
Okay. Mora.
I will advance, but remain. I won't go all the way to 30 feet. So I want to stay back a little bit behind Goro.
Okay.
Let him be the front line. And say out loud I will yell out to them, "What have you done?" And I will cast my mind sliver on the one that the javelin was hurled at.
Okay. Intelligence.
And intelligence 13.
Oh, he's quite intelligent.
All right.
Okay. And you Okay, you see kind of up above in the tree, near the Great Hall, you see this cut of purple energy begin to like zipper along the bark of the tree. And you see this kind of opening appear. And that will make it Ryu's turn.
So, you bastards, what have you done? And I pull back my bow, and because you always got to do sharpshooter, I'm gonna do that. And roll a 20 to hit, dirty 20.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Yep. So that'll do 17 damage to the one that's gnawing on the druid.
Ah, okay. You hit the one on the druid. Let me just bring them up. Okie doke. And he lets out a as he kind of looks up as the arrow kind of slides into his big muscular shoulder. And he looks up annoyedly. And then that brings us to the top of the round. And he... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That does not bring us to the top of the round. Sorry. That brings us to Kona. She's sitting. She lets out a soft cough. Help us. Help us. As Aya kind of runs up to her and kind of cradles her at the very end of her dash action. And Kona looks up at you with these big, beautiful, pleading eyes. And you look around and just all of the druids are dead. And as you take this moment in, Aya, you feel this searing pain in your side. And you look down, and having driven deep into your side, Kona has hit you with a laced dagger. Let me just see if it hits real quick.
She stabbed me with a dagger?
She stabbed you with a dagger.
Kona, what the fuck? I'm sorry for the profanity.
I know, you're fine.
What the freak?
Kona! Why are you stabbing me?
But I believe a 17 hits, yeah? Yes.
Hold on. Wait. Sorry.
Do you have a reaction?
I have warding flare. Because I can use it 3 times per long rest. I've only used it once.
Yeah, go for it.
So it imposes disadvantage on her attack roll towards me.
Okay. So she will roll that again as you look down and you feel the dagger up against your side. Let's see. Yes, that's a hit. The
She
second
still
one
gets
was
me?
better.
Oh,
yeah, the
no.
second one was better. I mean, she
no.
is right up against you.
Yeah,
right?
she is.
right
Plus,
up against you.
I wasn't anticipating sweet little Kona to stab me with a laced dagger, or a dagger. I don't know.
The doppelganger.
And so that's exactly right. As the dagger kind of cuts into your side, I also need a Constitution saving throw.
21.
Okay, you make it no problem. You take 3 points of piercing damage though, as you hear "bitch" in a voice that is clearly not Kona's, and kind of rolling away from you and shaking her eyes open is this young woman, clearly not Kona, in kind of a short pleated skirt, a messy white shirt, and her hair kind of done up in a bow. And she has kind of what appears to be something like a lollipop in her mouth. And she kind of runs away from you, and back towards the group of the others. And she's like, oh, they're no fun at all. It is clearly not. Kona. That makes it the big guy's turn, but he's just going to kind of continue munching uninterestedly on this arm. That brings us to the top. That brings us to the top of the round. And back to this kind of tall man who's looking similarly somewhat disinterested at the group. And he will wave a hand. And I need everybody to make me a wisdom saving throw. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. I just need Mora to make me a wisdom saving throw. He looks at you and says, oh, well, you could perhaps be a bit of trouble. And will wave his hand at Mora for a wisdom saving throw.
17.
Oh, yeah, well, he was right, and his spell fails. But you can tell that he clearly was trying to cast a spell, and interestingly, Mora, you discern from the way he carves magic into the air, you discern that he's using a very familiar form of magic, that he is using an enchantment spell, which is very, very rare in this world, as you know.
So, they're out enchanter.
Aya, it is your turn.
Oh god. Okay. Okay. Oh, man. I do not have a lot. Alright. So she called me a bitch, she's gonna get a bitch right back. My girl
Appropriate.
is I'm going to the girl who was in the pleated skirt who was Kona. I'm going to cast Burning Hands at first level.
Okay.
Just make a dexterity saving throw of 13.
She doesn't make it, actually. She is quite dexterous as she bounces kind of foot and foot and foot. She's bouncing back away from you, but you lay out your hands and you fire as she's making a retreat, and you're able to clip her.
Okay, for 13 fire damage.
Wow, okay, yeah. She lets out a cry in a very kind of surprise. Ah! Oh, you're going to get it. And that makes it Goro's turn.
Can I close the distance to the tall one?
Yes.
And if I can, maybe just screen right.
Like so?
Yeah, perfect. And I will make a two-handed spear attack
Okay.
for a 22 to hit.
Yes, that'll hit.
Goro.
And that is a 9 damage.
Okay.
And then I immediately go into my bonus attack of the other end of the spear for an 18 to hit.
That will also hit.
For 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
Add an additional 1d6 fire from Koji's reaction.
Because Koji's on it for an additional 3 points of fire damage as I go to town on this guy.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, you lay into him. And as you do, Mora is up for her turn.
I will advance to within 30 feet of this other caster,
Okay.
and I will say, so, show me what you are capable of. And I will, with that, once again, gesture and attempt. And I'll try the same Mind Sliver with the gesture.
Okay.
And it's an Intelligence 13 saving.
He does not make it.
He will take 6 points of psychic damage as I drill a magical bolt into his brain.
Oof. Okay.
And further, let's see. Next saving throw he takes will be -1.
Got it. The party has positioned itself well. It came charging out of the woods, and with the exception of this woman kind of getting the drop, this changeling woman getting the drop on Aya, the rest of you have positioned and taken action quite quickly. But it becomes somewhat impossible to ignore the growing sliver in the side of the tree, a good 30-40 feet up above you. And it widens. And as you look up into the widening sliver, you see a silhouette, a formless silhouette. And then out of the portal flies the body of Gale, and it lands in the center of that area between Goro, Aya, and Mora in a slumping heap, lifeless heap on the ground. And a moment later, Ryu, you're probably best able to see it as that you have a bit of distance. A much larger silhouette appears coming out of the gate. And what appears as it leaves the gate and comes crashing down into the center of the three of you. Let me just position it real quick. Is what appears to be an enormous minotaur. It stands large with dark black armor, its eyes ablaze. Strapped to its back is an enormous oversized warhammer, large horns protruding forward. It is almost twice the size of Goro, and it comes crashing down to the earth in the center of the three of you. It gives a somewhat disinterested appraisal of your group and looks to the tall man and lets out a huff. Kushna, what is happening here? Rubbing his forehead from that mind sliver, the man referred to as Kushna says, I'm sorry, sir. Just a momentary distraction as some adventures happened upon our work. Oh, I see. And he turns and looks at the group. Well, you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. Be gone if you value your lives. And that will make it Ryu's turn. Ryu, just before you go, you notice in his hand he is holding a blue glowing crystal in his hand.
Anything I've seen before, or is it just a blue glowing crystal? Like, not anything I saw in the village?
Nothing you've seen so far. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Yep. That is an 11.
An 11. No, you have not seen anything like this.
I just kind of stutter and just... I mean, shocked as I am, I'll still just kind of out of almost panic try and shoot the Minotaur.
Okay.
With 5.
Doesn't even come close.
Yep. So, that's me.
I yell out, "Hold! This is beyond us!"
And in hearing that, the girl and the man kind of eating at the corpse now are just kind of watching to see what you will all do. And that brings us to Kushna, who kind of rubs his forehead and looks at Goro, and he says, "Well, you better listen to what he has to say." And we'll go to Aya's turn.
What? I had ideas of what to do until a Minotaur showed up. Now I don't know.
Oh, Aya, I'm sorry. I need you to go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 12.
As he crashes and you're taking him in, he crashes to the ground and you're taking the sight of this enormous Minotaur in. His eyes are literally ablaze under this helm he seems to be wearing. His black armor is spiky and thick, and he turns and he looks at you, and a wave of fear encompasses you, and you fall under the fear condition.
So that means when I'm fearful of him, that means that I'm trying to get away?
You can't willfully move towards him.
Yeah, it means that you cannot willfully move towards this creature's
I'm gonna... Oh, man. This is a situation where I have no idea what to do. So I'm gonna fall back on what my... Okay. I'm gonna use my... Huh?
You have the feared condition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to run away from the source of your fear then, if I remember right.
No, it's just that you can't willingly move any closer.
Oh, okay.
So a frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight. The creature can't willingly move any closer to the source of its fear, which implies that you might want to get out of the line of sight. Just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, no, and Goro is kind of like triangulated between this Minotaur and...
I mean, you can barely see him behind this. Yeah, I mean, you can barely see Goro behind the form of this Minotaur.
Okay, then I'm gonna back up several feet back towards Mora and Ryu then.
Okay. Alright, so you head backwards, and then that will make it Goro's turn. Goro, I'm going to need a wisdom saving throw from you as well.
You mean just a second? Wisdom, you say?
Yes.
8.
You are also afraid of this beast in front of you. This you have been on many a battlefield, and no presence has ever been as overwhelming. No aura has ever been as powerful and indomitable as the force that you feel in front of you now. And you find yourself, for perhaps one of the first times in your life, truly afraid.
I recognize this feeling, this fear. I will begin to, and also listening to the words of the tall man that spoke to me, glaring at him, looking at the Minotaur, I will begin to, keeping my spear up towards them, begin to back away. Looking at them, acknowledging the sensation of fear that I feel right now. I will find you, and I will hunt you down. And I will see your lifeless body on the end of my spear.
Go ahead and give me an intimidation check at disadvantage.
Where is it? At disadvantage? So that's 8 for the first one, and then 7
Okay.
for the first one. It doesn't have a little bit of teeth behind it, but yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a insight check, Goro.
That is a 10.
Okay. It doesn't seem possible. It doesn't seem plausible. As you say this and you're backing away, you have heard boogeyman stories. You have heard on almost every battlefield you've ever been on, some soldier has had a campfire story of Baldur Kesh. But this warlord, this creature, by the telling of these soldiers, has been on every battlefield practically since the fall of Estragon and the rise of Agonia, but never in your experiences have you come across a creature like this, and he fits the flaming eyes, the black armor, the feline-like features on the body of a minotaur. It fits to a T the description of what amounts to a demigod of war in Baldur Kesh, the scourge of battlefields and wars since almost the beginning of civilization.
Taking that all in, that'll be my turn.
Mora, go ahead and give me a perception check.
13.
13, okay. As you are beginning your turn, you notice that it appears as though all three of the assembled henchmen have various tattoos, though it's difficult to make out from this distance what those tattoos are. But I need a wisdom saving throw from you as well.
And another 13.
And you are frightened of this Baldur Kesh as well.
All right. Well, I will hold myself for just a second against that fear. I recognize all too well the feeling, and my own sense of preservation is nearly overwhelming. But I take that second, and I look towards Kushna, and I give him a slight bow and say, I look forward to our next meeting, Enchanta. And then I will, not turning my eyes away, move back at a fair pace.
Okay.
Straight line retreat.
Let me move back here. As you begin to move back, Baldur Kesh gives something of a harumph. I thought we might have a challenge today, as he looks over the four of you. He turns, he says, well, it's no matter. And he holds up the blue crystal in his hand. He says, we have what we have come for. And he puts it into a large satchel on his side. And he begins moving in the direction of the forest. And Kushna kind of gives a shrug, and the girl kind of gives a yawn and says, ugh, I sure am tired. And begrudgingly, the third, this kind of short, heavy-set cannibal, kind of continues on eating this arm like it's a piece of mutton as he follows. As Baldur Kesh is moving towards the thicket of the forest in the way that you assume they came, he gets within about 15 feet of a petrified Aya. She's so frightened she cannot move. And as he's walking by, he would give her almost no attention on a normal day. But it just so happens that as he's passing by, he catches a glimmer of the of her pendant, which has kind of fallen out of its tucked away space as she's kind of gotten her clothing torn up and tattered over the course of the events of the day. And he stops. And he turns.
As soon as he starts turning towards her, she immediately starts hightailing it back towards Ryu.
Yeah. She thinks she does. Every bone in her body, every muscle is telling her that she is fleeing, but the reality is that she is petrified and stuck in place. And she has standing over her this hulking form of a minotaur, and he reaches his hand around your neck and grasps it tight and pulls you a good 5 feet up off the ground.
I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And so he's holding you by the neck, and Balder Kesh, I mean, his head alone is like the size of your entire upper body. And as he holds you, you feel it's as if his muscles are not straining in the least. And he kind of begins to look at the pendant first. In his massive hand, he takes up the pendant, and he says, "Where did you get this, girl?"
Oh, do I dare? Do I dare?
As these thoughts race through your head, should you not, he lets go of the pendant and begins kind of moving your head around by the neck and just kind of positioning it, and he begins looking, and he takes his thumb, he presses it against your forehead for a moment and kind of moves that thumb around, moving the skin of your forehead side to side. He says, "I see. Well, I will return for you later." And he throws you 10 feet back. And you hit the ground, taking 4 points of falling damage.
Okay.
And he beckons to the others, and in a few moments, they disappear into the thickness of the great wood, leaving the 4 of you alone with the great tree, the elder tree, ablaze, and all of the druids dead. And that's where we'll stop for tonight.
Ah.